All right, now you guys, the last speaker of the night. Are you guys ready? I don't know if you guys are ready for this. Are you ready? Yes, okay, awesome. The speakers are ready. They're definitely ready. All right. She used lean startup principles to introduce the methodology to the entire team at adoptapet.com, where she was employee number 2 and now works as chief product officer. She'll explain how forming a hypothesis, prioritizing assumptions, and using the build, measure, learn cycle are all important parts of turning any team into a lean powerhouse. Please help me in welcoming our last speaker of the night, Abbie Moore.
I'm going to start out with a philosophical question. Have you ever looked back at an old version of yourself, your hopes, your fears, the way you did things back then, and think, what was I thinking? That's a good thing, right? That means you're smarter today than you were then. I hope in a few years, I'll look back on the Abbie Moore who's giving this talk tonight, and I'll wonder what she was thinking too. Similarly, I look back on adoptapet.com a few years ago, and I wonder what we were thinking. We built features that we thought our customers would like, but we never actually talked to them. And we would spend months building without launching anything. Then when we did launch, we never looked back or measured our success. And then I discovered the Lean Startup, and I knew it could be a total game changer for us. But my challenge was, how do I get my team, who were used to working in the old way, to understand and get really excited about this new thing? And I started to wonder, could I use the build, measure, learn cycle itself to onboard Lean to my team? And spoiler alert, I could. It worked really well. So I'm going to tell you how you can do the same thing. And you can actually use this for other methodologies as well. So it all starts with this. Your team is your customer. Start off by talking to your customer. Interview your team. Find out what drives them, what frustrates them. Do a really good deep discovery. And then formulate your hypothesis. Ask yourself, if you can successfully adopt Lean, how will it transform your organization and your mission and solve some of the problems that you learned about in discovery? That's your mission, and that's the vision that you're going to share with your team. My hypothesis was, if we could successfully adopt Lean, then not only would we have a better understanding of our impact on animals, but we would double that impact within a year, and we would also have more fun at work. So the next step is to share your vision with your team and then talk to them again. I discovered that my team was actually really enthusiastic about the vision that I was putting forth, but they were skeptical that we could get it done. And they were also scared about the consequences of failure. So the next step was to get shared understanding of what Lean is. And because Eric's Lean Startup book was so inspirational for me, I decided to try to do a weekly Lean Startup book club with my team. And it was really successful. The rules of the book club were simple. I would assign 1 or 2 chapters a week. Everybody reads the chapters in advance. Everybody comes prepared with questions, comments, and ideas for how the principles in that chapter could affect their own work. And everybody talks. Be inclusive and cross-functional in your book club. We included everybody from product and engineering to customer service and even our HR rep. Because when you're trying to affect true cultural change, you really need everybody on board. Next, jump in and build your MVP, which for you is a pilot team of early adopters who are going to start putting the principles of Lean Startup into action. Give them a problem to solve, and then coach them through the build, measure, learn cycle a few times. The thing to remember is you will fail. And make sure that you tell your team that that's a good thing. If you're not failing, you're probably not experimenting often enough. Failure is the greatest tool for learning imaginable. The next step is to measure. So make sure you're keeping track of metrics like the number of conversations you're having with your customers, the number of experiments you're launching every week, and your validated learnings, the quantity and quality of them, and your team's happiness. And then learn. Have weekly meetings where you look at these metrics and talk about what's working for you and what isn't. Iterate on your own Lean process and decide if you're going to pivot or persevere. Because you want to spread lean to your entire organization, make sure you're exposing your team's work to everybody and give people a chance to ask questions, make comments, and suggest iterations and experiments so that they can get their own feet wet. And then expand out. As soon as you can, break apart that pilot team and start seeding other teams in your organization with these now experienced people who can act as coaches and advocates. So back to our hypothesis, how did we do? Well, we didn't quite double our impact, but more importantly, I learned why the hypothesis itself was not great. And that's because when you're trying to fail fast and learn fast, don't have a hypothesis that takes a year to validate. So this has been a simplification of a much more complex process. If you're interested in learning more, I have a blog post, or you can come talk to me. If you'd like the blog post, you can find it on Medium or email me, and I'd be happy to send you a link. Thank you.